Hello ratbags, it's Jade Plays Games. Welcome to Fallout 76. Fallout 76, the minute I heard about it, the minute I heard the rumours it was going to be a PvP focused online Fallout game, I was down. I was pretty much one of the few people that was actually excited about it. News and information came forth and said it wasn't going to be quite like that. It was going to be its own thing, its own take. So my excitement died a little, but nevertheless, I've got more and more into trying to get a grip of what this game is and the potential it's got. And I think that's what this game has. It's got potential. I can't wait to play it. And as you can see, there's lots of footage. So I'm going to guide you through 20 minutes or so of footage of the first few things you're going to be doing in the game, really going through the initial steps as you emerge from Vault 76 into your first steps. We're going to explain some of the missions, we're going to explain the map markers, Pip-Boy, XP, some of the enemies and some of the structures and what you gain from it all. So hit that like button, make sure you've got notifications on. I've got loads of Fallout 76 content coming, and let's get on with the rest of the video. As you saw, returning features, which there are a lot of from Fallout 4, are in the game. Character creation, character customization. One big difference, you'll be able to change your appearance at any point you want. You just simply press pause on the game menu and you can go and change your appearance. This is to help with the cosmetics. You're going to be able to wear whatever items you want over your armors. No longer choosing between wearing something more practical or something that just looks good. You can wear any type of dress, outfit over your armors, even power armor. But obviously they're going to be based on microtransactions, so you can spend real money on the atom currency or you can earn atom currency in the game. And that is one thing that I'm seeing here, is there is a lot of atoms to be earned. We just need to see how much the actual outfits are. Once you've got through the character customization and creating your character, you'll then pick up your Pip-Boy, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty basic tutorials asking you to go along, explore the vault and make your way to the exit point. I love this idea of the Pip-Boy looking like this, where you can see through it. You don't have to be directly into the green screen, and they have changed it. It's not full colour, it's more of a sepia colour, but I really like that fact that it appears like that. Now there are some MacGuffins if you want to get more involved in the story. I think there's a few holodecks, holotapes, all that sort of good stuff. And of course you can go and soak in the atmosphere of the 76 vault dwellers that were in this vault. Now I say 76, but that's not really true, is it? Because there is only 24 players supposedly. Unless you get your friends to join you, if the server is full, the server will allow you to add a few friends. But you can only have up to 32 friends on the server. That is the hard cap. So the soft cap is 24. If you and your friends have always played on that server, but for some reason it's full when one night you want to get on, the server will allow you to come on if you've already played on it. Of course that may change and variations of that might be a bit different, they may increase numbers, but that's what I've gathered from looking at everything so far and looking at all the information. It's a soft cap of 24 and it can go up to 32 players when needed. The robot butlers make their return, obviously not all called Codsworth unfortunately, but we've got lots of these guys. They're going to give you lots and lots of mission quests, and robots are going to be a big feature. If you don't know, Fallout 76 will contain no human NPCs. Plenty of robots, plenty of holotapes to give you some story. There is a main story to follow, and I think what's going to surprise people is how in depth it could be. You are following in the footsteps of the Overseer. As we're going and gathering all these items that we need, this is the bulk of the missions you're going to be trying to achieve. It's going to take you a good amount of time. Once you've done that, you'll have unlocked nuclear missiles. So don't get too ahead. Obviously, this is still first early stages, but this is what you're following. We pick up our camp, and you make sure you pick up your perk cards. And it's going to give you a tiny little tutorial on the perk cards and how it all works. Obviously, these are returning in terms of the perks and the special, so you should know to put points into whatever special you like your character mostly play like. But the perk cards are different. The perk cards are going to allow you to change and chop your perks and really change your character. Sure, you could put 50 points straight into strength and then you would be a bit bummed because you can't actually respec your specials, but perk cards give you a real opportunity to change your character. Now there's a lot more information to go over perk cards, so I'm going to be explaining that all in a separate video showing you gameplay as well as explaining it. But that's the idea behind them. You'll be able to chop and change your perk cards, put different ones into your specials, chop and mix up what your character build is going to be like. You will be able to share your perks along your friends once you get to a certain level, and you can actually give your perk cards to other players. You can swap cards over. So we've picked up our camp, we've picked up our Pip-Boy, we've got the perk cards, we've gone through the tutorial area. It's time to emerge into Appalachia. And there you go, you can see the Atom Store. this happens a lot. Challenges are a big part of the game. You get daily challenges, you get weekly challenges, and you get overtime challenges. Kill 200 mutants is a challenge, etc, etc. Every time you complete one of these challenges, you do get some atoms to spend on cosmetic items. Obviously XP returns as well. Every time you kill an enemy, you will gain some XP. Every time you complete a mission, you gain some XP. Every time you find a location, you can gain some XP. Now, just because there are no human NPCs, as you saw there, the Responder course, doesn't mean there isn't any factions. The Responders are a faction alongside the Enclave, alongside the Free States, the Raiders. They are some of the main ones that are going to be in the game still. You just may not necessarily come across them in actual human, alive form. And there's a good reason for that, and I think I'm going to explain that a little bit later, why the reason is that there's no real human players, why there's no other players appearing from other bunkers, why it really does fit in with the story or the lore that Bethesda are trying to go for. Of course, third person makes a return, and as you would expect, running around the wilderness, gathering up flowers, gathering up resources is going to be pretty important, because you're going to be building lots of bases and making your own weapons. Appalachia does look great. Initially, when I was seeing this, it was running around a little bit, and I kind of felt like the map was kind of small, and looking at the pictures of the map it felt like kind of small, which seems crazy because it is meant to be 4 times as big as any map they've ever made. I guess it's deceptive. I guess the way that it goes up and down, it's got lots of height and lots of valleys, lots of mountains and stuff, so that's pretty good. So what you were seeing there was an instrument being played. They're not just for fun. If you play it long enough, you can get some bonuses, as you're seeing right now. AP regen is a bonus from playing an instrument. So they're not just there to have a bit of fun and make a good photo opportunity. They can actually do you a solid, as can well fed and well hydrated. Survival is part of Fallout 76. No longer a side option like previous games. It is part of the core system. You are going to need to eat and drink, and when you run out of food or water, it's not necessarily going to kill you straight away, but it will stop your AP bar regaining, and it will then start taking some health bar away from you. So food and water definitely is going to be something you're going to need to keep an eye out for, particularly the water situation. There are certain things you can't do if you have no AP, obviously, if your AP is low, and so food and water directly affects that. So it is worth making sure you're always well fed and you've always got a good stock of water. The usual things return. There's lots of crafting benches. The way that you're going to utilise these crafting benches is going to be a bit different though. You see there you've got the tinkerer, there's an armourer's workshop, there's all sorts. You're going to be bulk condensing stuff down. It's not necessarily a case of just using one particular piece of scrap for one item. You condense it all down into its base properties. So I don't think that's necessarily that new, but the bulk aspect is in terms of where you can make it all into something easy to carry. That's pretty new. Make no doubt about it, Fallout 76 is going to be pretty grindy. It is meant to be played as a team. I highly recommend you play it with some friends, or you find some people on the server so that you can share in the duties of grinding for materials. Early on stages, you're not going to be crafting or creating that much, so I would say just focus on the story and the waypoints, going from A to B, gathering XP and getting lots of experience. One thing that I found funny returning is of course lockpicking. This has not changed since Skyrim, goddammit. I don't even know if it was in any of the earlier Fallout games. I know it was in Fallout 4, but my gosh, is it time for something new? I don't know, maybe it doesn't need it. I guess if we had anything else more intricate or complicated, it would be just a bit stupid. I guess they can't really change it if it's been in Fallout 4 or Fallout 3. But lockpicking does return the same usual way. You should be used to this if you've ever played a Bethesda, Fallout or Elder Scrolls game. Saying that, I'm sure Oblivion was slightly different the way you did it, but you know, who knows. So when you open these little boxes, you are going to hopefully get a little bit more loot, and like I said, them challenges keep coming in. So do everything once. Kill every small little creature you come across. You never know if it'll give you a challenge and give you some bucks. Also make sure that if there is a location you see on your left or your right, just go up to it and discover it. So again, you get that free easy XP and that free easy atoms. So this robot sets upon the character here, and you can see it's level 5. It's going to need some good decent hits. The ammo has gone from this gun and you've got to resort to melee. You're going to see a lot of these robots around. You've got 20 XP from killing a level 5 creature. Level 1 creatures you tend to get a little bit less, maybe only 1, maybe up to 5 XP. It all just depends, but that's a rough guide. The higher the level, obviously, the higher the XP. As I said, water's important. Make sure you're not drinking dirty water. It has to be boiled or purified, otherwise it will take away some HP from you if you keep drinking it. Now it's also important at early stages that you do follow some of the guides in terms of the mission structure, because it is just going to give you, like I said, that easy XP. Otherwise you might end up backtracking and it's a pain in the butt, quite frankly. So rather than going straight out there and exploring straight from the off, do the little tutorial missions. It's going to explain everything to do with camps, how to build your little bases, what you can expect, explain your stash, which is your permanent box where you can hold your items without fear of any other players attacking you. Remember, it is going to be a PvP element to the game. It means that if you are online and you left your base unattended, other players may be able to come up to it and take stuff, but not if it's in your stash box. Your stash box is always safe no matter what. I've spoke about PvP extensively and I've shown you guys exactly how it goes down in my 76 facts, but I will go over it one more time in a separate video. But as I said, just be aware of how you craft them and what you build. You may want to make sure you've got walls up rather than just leaving it open. When you go offline though, your camp does go offline with you, and I'm repeating a lot of this information, but it's still a lot of people don't know. Your camp does go with you, so you don't have to worry about your base being offline raided. When you're in your camp though, it's going to have lots of uses once you start crafting up these crafting tables. You only get the camp and then you've got to obviously build your own stuff, but this one's already laid out as part of the tutorial, and as you saw there, we was getting buffs and bonuses for crafting items and obviously making things that are going to be useful. There are a lot of crafting benches and there's a lot of tiers of building materials. So far there are around 5 building tiers, going all the way up from wood to corrugated iron to like brick and cement. So we'll be going through all that in detail, and I'll be showing you guys how to craft and make your own weapons and make real good modifications or really outlandish ones, because don't we all just want a flaming fork or something along them lines? So we do get a lot of chance to experiment and create some crazy tools and weapons. The biggest difference change here is though that they degrade, so they will break if you don't repair them after a certain while. You can only repair them at crafting benches, so be warned, always make sure you've got a backup weapon that you like or using just in case it breaks mid-combat. Armour is going to be important. You're going to need obviously the power armour to go through certain zones and taking on some of the high level monsters that you're going to encounter, but you're also going to need things like gas masks to get around toxic zones and toxic cloud areas. So it's definitely really important you put a few points into some of your specials so that you can utilise your armour in a good way. Everything has a weight to it as well, including ammo and guns. So although it's tiny, the ammo weight, it still contributes. So you've got to be a little bit more careful about being over encumbered. It isn't as punishing when you're over encumbered. You can still walk around, but you won't necessarily be able to sprint as much, and you won't be able to fast travel. Sleeping is one of them things that gives you a well rested bonus. You're not going to be able to sleep obviously overnight because it's an ongoing server. There are other players on board, but sleeping will give you a buff. You're going to come across these government airdrops, and sometimes you have to activate it yourself by taking a holotape to a actual tower and activating it, and so this may become a point of conflict if another player wants to come get this. I'm not sure if you both get stuff if it's in there, or whether or not there is only one time use. Loot in general, when you see an item on a shelf like a typewriter or a can or a hammer, you'll pick that item up and it disappears from the world. So if another player comes up behind you and wants to loot that same area, there'll be nothing there, except for storage containers. Any storage containers, so like chest of drawers, fridges, stuff like that, there should be instances of loot for everyone, and that goes to mobs and monsters as well. It is dynamic, so when you are in a group and you kill something, your teammates will still be able to get some loot from that monster even if you've just looted it. It's all just based randomly what kind of loot you get. Now VATS does return. VATS is very much neutered down. Again, no slowing down bullet time. It's literally there to help you get a tiny bit more percentage chance of getting a shot if you're in trouble. Maybe you can supplement it and make it much better later on with your special abilities to give specific body parts, but at the moment it's kind of a little bit redundant. As is a lot of the buildings in Fallout 76. Some of them you just can't get into. They're all boarded up, and a lot of the buildings, although they're quite large, might end up only having 1 or 2 rooms that you can get into. I've been told this is actually a feature of Fallout 4. It's been a while since I played Fallout 4, and I even done loads of guides on it way back when it came out. It was like one of the first stuff I was really doing after Destiny on my channel, and I don't remember there being as many buildings that you couldn't get into, or maybe they were more like dungeons every time you went into like a supermarket, etc. And that feature kind of is true about Fallout 76 compared to Red Dead Redemption, which is 90% of its buildings enterable. I think Fallout 76 has let itself down a little bit. It just adds to the story and the real worldism if you can go into buildings, you know. I understand things are going to be boarded up, but it makes no sense that I can shoot and destroy robots, but I can't take down a wooden board. Something to consider for the future, maybe. Some various shots of taking down enemies and getting XP right now, and you can get the idea. They're going to be jumping around at you, and they're quite hard to kill, more than you imagine, judging by this footage. Now, you can take diseases, and lots of them statuses are going to be taking effect. Not just diseases, but you can also have conditions. So you're going to have to think about curing some of these, as they will affect your HP bar, they'll give you more rad, or they'll also affect your AP bar. If you get too many rads, you can gain a mutation, and mutations can be permanent. You have got a chance to cure them every time you take a rad away. There is ways that you can keep it, because not all mutations are negative. There are some mutations that you might actually enjoy because they give you positive buffs, not just negatives. So there is a perk card that allows you to keep whatever mutation you've got, just in case you don't want it to accidentally go away every time you take a rad. As you're exploring and going through, you're going to be coming up to the Flatwood area, and this is where you really start to get a sense of what maybe the story is. It's got high talk about what the responders were up to. Responders are a militia mainly out of firefighters, sort of ambulance staff, that kind of deal, you know, good upstanding citizens that helped when war broke out, and obviously have been helping out ever since. But they've all disappeared, or they've been transformed into these ghoul-like creatures or scorched creatures. So it's really interesting to see where the story develops. You know, it has got to explain why there are no other human NPCs. Even if everyone was in their vaults, we've heard it from previous Fallout games and lore that lots of people built their own bunkers. There was lots of ways and lots of systems that had people basically hiding and emerging sometime later. So it is a bit odd to be exploring the whole of West Virginia and not coming across a single human NPC. So that's what the story's meant to do. A certain date means that in November, no one else was updating any of the terminals. Everyone just disappeared. Was it a sickness? Did people just die suddenly? Were they herded off to promises of being rescued and put into a fertile green land? Who knows? But that's what we're going to be following in the Overseer footsteps for. She's left early. Remember, she was meant to come out with Reclamation Day with us. We was all celebrating back in the vault, but she decided to leave early. And we've really got to follow in her footsteps, reading her personal diaries, as well as reading items she's actually left for us. She wants us to follow in her footsteps also by leaving us very detailed holotapes detailing exactly what we should be looking at or focusing on, including how to use things like camps. So very interesting stuff. So what you're seeing right now is an area event. As soon as you step into it, it's activated for you. Not all events are like this. You have to activate them yourself sometimes, or they'll pop up and tell you to go and be taking part by activating the terminal. Once that's done though, anyone in the area that as part of that, you can all contribute to it together. Some of the events will need you to group up because maybe the threat is too big or it's too hard. Some of the events may even be PvP. There's not going to be many, but there are a few that are rumoured to be PvP focused. So you can go to any of these events across the map, even if you've not explored that location, which seems a little bit odd, but you can fast travel to any event taking place. So if you want to get across the map quickly, you can do that. It's not going to cost you too much in terms of caps. And that's what happens when you fast travel. It does cost you a small amount of caps, I do believe. There are some instances where it won't. I think it's if you die and you respawn close by, or you want to travel to your teammates. That might be the only situation where you're not losing caps. Caps, of course, is the currency in the game that you can be utilising to pay for items and buy stuff from traders. Traders are in the game as well also. And of course you can trade with other players. That is a key element to the game as well. So lots of this information you'll find more in my 76 facts about Fallout 76. Go and watch that video. It's in the description down below. I've linked it in the comments as well, but it's really important you go and watch that if you want to get even better information. This is kind of just my thoughts on seeing this gameplay and experiencing it and seeing how it all works. So really getting hyped for this. We haven't got long to go. Fallout 76, I think it's going to be huge. I think it's got some problems and issues. I don't like the way it launched. I don't like the run up to the launch, and I'm not necessarily a fanboy that can forgive a game having lots of problems and issues when it's full price. And I think that Fallout 76 might have been better off being an early access game so that it could get away from that. Whether or not a big company should be offering early access, I'm not too sure, but that's discussion for another matter. We'll finish off though showing you that there are some other side bits that you might know or C, holotapes are going to be giving you the opportunity to play games. I think this has been in the game before, but again, it's just another version. Nuka-Cola is a quite addictive game, judging by it. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot more. Maybe there'll be a really rare one that you can trade with other players, and it will just go around the whole map because it's the only one on the map. That is a great idea. Bethesda, sign me up for ideas. I am Jade Plays Games. This has been the first 20 minutes to maybe half an hour with some kind, gentle editing of Fallout 76. If you want to see loads of gameplay, if you're going to stay tuned to the live stream that's launching tonight, make sure you're watching. Make sure you've got notifications turned on. I can't wait to show you the rest of Appalachia. I will see you guys very soon.
Those chosen to enter this vault must be our best and our brightest. For when the fighting is stopped, and the fallout has settled, you must rebuild. Not just walls, not just buildings, but hearts and minds, and ultimately, America itself.